Hi everybody. I wanted to talk a little bit about one-on-one online yoga teacher training. Now, post-COVID, there's been a lot of changes in the yoga industry. A lot of studios have closed down, and there's some legitimate questions about whether or not yoga, as it's been presented in the last 20 years or so, is going to be able to continue. And of course, there's going to be questions about the value of taking a yoga teacher training in that case, given maybe the absence of some of those jobs. I think people who've come to my trainings in the past have come for primarily two reasons. One is that they do actually want to work as yoga instructors and they're motivated to learn how to do that. And the second reason is that they just really want to deepen their understanding of yoga, develop their own practice, and see whether or not they're actually a candidate for being a good yoga teacher. Some of the things that I've noticed through maybe the roughly 1,000 students that have graduated is that they definitely have different aptitudes. There's people that have very strong verbal and language skills and are more extroverted. And there are people that are more introverted and are perhaps better working in smaller groups or online or even just with their friends. And that's kind of their goal. So what I've come to in terms of teaching yoga, the way that I would like to learn it if I was going to do it again and learn from somebody or a school of yoga, I actually rather have someone design the training around my aptitudes, the things that I'm already good at and that I can really leverage into the teaching of yoga. So let's say I'm a very vibrant, young, physically strong and flexible person that loves a physical practice and really enjoys communicating that to other people. Of course, at least at that time, your training should be used to amplify those skills that you have. Let's say you're someone my age in their 50s who still likes to move, but maybe has become more interested in the meditative and the philosophical or restorative yoga, the softer components. And that's what they'd like to practice as well as communicate and teach to other people. So you can see the difference between those two people if they ended up in the same training and how no one training could really give them both exactly what they need. So that's why I've come to, especially at this point in my career as well, is wanting to offer yoga teacher training kind of as an individual process where I would take in and intake a candidate for this, and you and I would go through what you think your strengths and weaknesses are and your interests and what you'd like to do when you teach yoga. And then I would then design the 200 or 300 hour training around those interests and really try to amplify the things that you're good at and probably spend less time on the things that you don't have a huge interest in. And it is possible to tailor things in this way because Yoga Alliance standards for certification are somewhat flexible here. So there are definitely categories that have to be met, but whatever is in those categories can be done in slightly different ways. So the training becomes a little bit more of a conversation, a back and forth, rather than just you sitting and waiting, listening to a bunch of other people ask questions that you may not actually be interested in. You can have your questions answered immediately and we can move forward into an interesting conversation and eventually get you certified in what you really enjoy doing. So if that makes sense to you and sounds interesting, you can contact me and I'll tell you more details. Thanks for listening.